I'm back again with the hat. Let's go. So I've been working on this review specifically for about 2 weeks now, and there's been so many updates for this phone. It's gotten to the point where I said, okay, as of today, I am not updating this phone. I'm going to review it the way it is, just because they keep changing and enhancing things. And you know, that's kind of one of the good things about OnePlus, but for a reviewer, it's almost impossible to encapsulate how this phone really is, because it's forever evolving and forever changing. But I'm gonna do my best today. I'm Kevin the Tech Ninja, and this is the OnePlus 8 Pro review. So usually I wait a full month to review a phone, but it doesn't take me a month to tell you that this is the best phone of 2020 so far. You know, when it comes to phones, there are a few things that are very important to me. So is it subjective? Yeah, it's YouTube. You're watching this video for my opinion, but I do ask you to hear me out before you agree or disagree. I will start with this, that OnePlus phones feel like they're made by people who love great phones. With so much care and detail, it was put into this phone and you can really tell. The OnePlus Pro starts at $899, which is cheaper than the S20 lineup and iPhone 11 Pro lineup. I think feature for feature, OnePlus directly competes, if not better than the S20 lineup. Yeah, this is the most expensive OnePlus phone around, and yeah, this is the most featured packed and complete OnePlus phone around. OnePlus also has a non-Pro version, which is good in its own right, but I'll still pay the upcharge for the Pro version, in my opinion. I feel weird saying this. In 2020, the iPhone is starting to look like a value lineup, with the offering for $399 and $700 too. But for $700, it doesn't compete spec for spec with the OnePlus 8, as it comes with less memory, smaller battery, storage. But I got ahead of myself. That is a different video for a different day. We're talking about the Pro right now. So for me, a few things are important. How does it feel in the hand? The screen, the performance, and also the cameras. The OnePlus 8 Pro checks all those boxes for me. Although I love a great camera, I'd say this camera has gotten better with every single update. Starting off with a picture like this from the first update. Now to a picture like this with the 5th update. It's still a hair under the S20 and it's still miles behind the Pixel, but for 2020 flagship phones, cameras are all really good, and for me, this is good enough. There are 4 cameras on the back, a pair of 48 megapixels for wide and ultra wide. And there's also an 8 megapixel telephoto and also that 5 megapixel depth camera that works with portrait mode. As I said, the camera is fine with still subjects. With motion, it does struggle a bit more. I found taking pictures of my 1.5-year-old to be a bit challenging at times in lower light. Outside, I was able to grab some shots, but portrait mode, when he was moving, it was nearly impossible to do it, as it wanted him at a certain depth or certain location every time, and obviously I couldn't do that with a moving subject. But beyond that, with still subjects, the camera is fine. I think a lot of pictures, especially this one right here, just comes out really good. The color looks great, the detail is there, the background is blurred even though it's not portrait mode, and I think it's just a great photo. You go to the wide angle lens and you get some really cool perspective shots, and dynamic range is still there. I have absolutely no complaints about the camera outside of just it being a little bit slower when it comes to capturing motion. I do find the video mode to be very solid as well, although I think Apple and Samsung does a better job when it comes to it. But I think when this camera is in cinema mode, you get some really nice video out of it. Stabilization looks really good. It is very sharp. I do find it really hard for it to focus on very small things. Like if I point to this leaf exactly, it doesn't really grab that focus, but overall the full picture looks good. Like I said, I have no complaints with the camera. Not the best camera I've found, but for me, it's extremely passable, and posting on social media, it looks completely fine. I've never had anyone say, oh, what camera took that picture because it didn't look good? Overall, everything just looks pretty good, and I'm okay with it. So let's move over to the screen. This is a 6.78 inch 1440p 120 hertz screen with no compromises, meaning you can go to 1440p with 120 hertz. And we'll talk about that soon. The screen is great to look at, and it's OnePlus's brightest screen that we've seen. I've used it in direct sunlight for my testing, and it's extremely visible. And so for me, that's a major win. One thing about OnePlus, in the past, their screens never got that bright, and this screen looks really good outside still in direct sunlight. It does not get as bright as the S20 in direct sunlight, as the S20's brightness levels are just through the roof. But at the same time, when I'm using it as a phone independently and not comparing it, it looks really good. I also dig OnePlus's color profiles in the display settings. You know, I prefer a subtle look, and that just makes the overall experience accurate, and OnePlus has that color profile. I think the basic mode just looks really good, and not saying it's sRGB or anything like that, but it gives me a true to life look. When I take a picture and look at it on the phone, it looks very similar to my monitor, which is tuned to be true to life color. So I'm very impressed with that. The 120 Hertz is just lightning fast, and it just gives you great appearance and great performance. I know we've talked about this on the S20, but for now on, like, it's really hard to use phones that don't have a high refresh rate. Everything just feels so much faster. It feels like the phone is floating above the display, if that makes sense. I know it's kind of weird to say it that way, but only way I can describe it. It's just so fast to move. Now, you can keep the resolution at 1440p, but it does come with a significant battery hit, one that I do not want to deal with, and you lose around 4 to 5 hours of total time with the resolution and the hertz up. So in my opinion, full HD, but 120 Hertz is the best combination. Also, it is a curved display, and a lot of people hate curved displays, and I'm kind of on the fence where I'd rather have a flat display. But I will say, with one of the latest updates, palm rejection was added, or it was enhanced, meaning when you touch the curve with your palm, it doesn't count it as a press, so you're not getting phantom presses. So I've been using the phone several days since that update came out, and do not have a problem with it. I am not noticing any type of false presses anymore. This is the best screen on mobile right now over everything else, and it is an absolute joy to use, and just the color profiles by itself is just, yeah, it's just great. There's also tons of accessories for this phone, first party and third. I gotta love the Sandstone case from OnePlus. OnePlus originally had the Sandstone phone, but now they give you cases with the same texture. And yeah, it just feels really good, and it looks pretty cool too. Also, my sponsor of this video, Dbrand, has skins for this thing too, so if you don't want to rock the case, you should get some skins to check out. I mean, the skins are definitely cool, and the one with Jerry Rigs Everything, this is pretty cool. It's the inside of the phone, what it actually looks like. It's just a nice feel, something a little bit different, something unique as well. If you want to check it out, hit the links down below to Dbrand your device. It's running Android 10.0 and Oxygen OS 10.0, and this is the best combo on mobile. I love Oxygen OS. It's so smooth, and you can customize every single thing too. And I just think it looks great as well. And I guess I'm showing my Android age here, but I was a huge fan of CyanogenMod back in the day, and this still feels like a custom ROM. There's no bloatware at all, and it's just fast, and settings and light. It's just, wow, it's just really good to use. Now, when gaming on this phone, you're not gonna have any lag, no shudders, no overheating, nothing like that would take away from your experience. The Snapdragon 865 is flexing its muscles here, but the OS definitely helps too. Even with 8 GB of RAM, which is the version I have, apps stay in memory, and it's quick to switch between them. I even did a speed test between the S20 Ultra and this, so make sure you check that out, linked up top and down below as well, and see which phone is actually faster. Now, for battery life, I cannot kill this phone in a full day. I use my phone a lot. I've been playing a lot of games and doing a lot of things that not typical for me to do, but since I'm in the house, self-quarantining and social distancing, I'm on my phone a lot more, and battery life has held up. At the end of the day, after about 6 to 7 hours of screen on time, I'm still at about 35 to 40% of battery, whereas on other phones, I'm at around 10 to 15% of battery. So I don't find myself having to charge the phone up overnight, but at the same time, obviously I do. Now, you do have Warp fast charging, which I have a video on that, which will charge your phone up very fast wirelessly. And also it does have the standard dash charging, which is the fastest charging method around too. So at the same time, you have ways to charge your phone and get these things going, but at the same time, you really don't need that with this phone because battery life is that good. Overall, the OnePlus 8 Pro is the best experience I've had on a phone in a very, very long time. And I know what you guys are gonna say, like, Kevin, you're an iPhone user. Are you switching your phone to a OnePlus? Are you getting rid of the iPhone? I would say for me, the iPhone is not the best phone that I've had, not the best phone that I've used. I like so many more phones than the iPhone, but the problem is, once again, goes back to ecosystem, and I'm stuck in this ecosystem, and I use a lot of things every single day. I use iMessage, and I send video clips to my editor and things like that over iMessage and everything. Otherwise, it'd be going through Dropbox and other means. It just makes situations a little bit harder. So the iPhone is definitely not the best phone by any means, but it just fits in my life and the way I work a lot better. But to me, the OnePlus 8 Pro is the best phone of 2020 so far, and it's gonna be really hard to take it down. I'm a huge fan of OnePlus. I've been rocking with OnePlus since the OnePlus One, and before I switched over, the OnePlus 6T was actually my phone that I used as my daily driver. Anyways, guys, that was my full review of the OnePlus 8 Pro. Let me know what you think about it by leaving a comment down below. Kevin the Tech Ninja, have a great day. I'll at you guys later. Peace.